The x-axis criticizes three aspects of the current world order. If these are anything, what do you suppose they might be? After you've reached your limit and they see you with a beautiful young woman, they may do any of the following. Since you are not the one responsible for cleaning up the mess, you are able to really get under their skin. To put it mildly, if you do any of these three things, you will find that women are upset. Those of you who get what I'm saying have probably come across all of this before. I hope you can see this essential truth deep within yourself, the depth to which you are a bad person, as well as the fact that you are an IST and an inism. The reason I want you to comply is that your behavior is very repulsive. A person has every right to enjoy success in their efforts and to feel pleased with their achievements. Don't waste any more time worrying about the past and start appreciating the wonderful life you have now. The time has come to tell these spoiled brats that you no longer wish to financially back them now that they have reached adulthood and their full potential. Take on the outlook of a wanderer and drink deeply from the freedom cup the world has to offer. Most single women without male financial support will be destitute and dying before they reach the age of 35. People who have achieved their achievement via their own efforts should not be judged by us. However, it's impossible to deny that only a small fraction of women over 60 can claim to be financially independent. We will instead focus on the majority of this group, which is made up of strong and self-reliant older women, and analyze their conduct rather than engage in conversation with them. That channel is hardly the place to have a conversation, and these shoes are clearly designed for walking. Ladies that try too hard to pass as masculine often wind up embarrassing themselves, which is why I have no use for them. It's important to remember that just a tiny fraction of female entrepreneurs actually build companies that make it onto the Fortune 500 list. Most of them are wage slaves, which means they rely only on their employer or master for all of their financial support. Candidates were expected to have at least a bachelor's degree before being considered. This was the case for a variety of reasons, including a lack of resources and the need for women to forego time with their children in order to get where they are today, which for some may mean a job and a somewhat decent lifestyle. The vast majority of these ladies took out loans and are now servile to the companies to which they are indebted for loans, mortgages, and automobiles. Making a payment is just the tip of the financial responsibility iceberg. In terms of meeting their monetary commitments, these women are doing so without assistance. It could appear that they are making progress or thus. If the gray pad had been split along the x-axis, they wouldn't be suffering through as much pain right now. Although these women may be financially poor, they have given up on their dreams of becoming CEOs or launching their own businesses in favor of a more modest meal as a consolation prize for giving up on their goals. Greg Adams, the coach, is a permanent fixture in the locker room, and he regularly provides the men there with words of wisdom and encouragement. These guys have saved up and struck out on their own, realizing that there's more to life than being a woman's plow horse. They rode the Black Eagle at top speed so that the bride's anger would be at a boiling point when Mr. Monkey suddenly swept her off her feet and down the aisle. They sped along on the Black Eagle at top speed, waiting for him to arrive. However, those times are long gone, as modern men will not put up with such limitations. They've decided to have their kids abroad. They're making it easier for folks to start their own businesses and support their families. In both the blue and white collar sectors, men outnumber women by a wide margin. It is men who are responsible for the propagation of the RP and who have an effect on the lives of other men. More and more guys are looking to the monastic way of life to hone their concentration and avoid distractions at work. This axis is frustrated by men's achievement as their own economic and social standing stagnates. Even if they're an old deck sex who badly needs the man's money to get out of the mess they built for himself, he won't help them. Men have better things to do with their time than to waste it on someone who wants to ruin everything they've worked for. The men in your life are too preoccupied with their own success to worry about someone who wants to ruin everything you've worked for. The men woke up to find their wives unhappy and afraid that their greatest fears were coming true and that they would be abandoned in the midst of the financial and emotional troubles they had brought upon themselves in order to have a child. The ladies' choice to start a family was a major contributor to their current predicament. Single, immature young women have a thing for younger males with a love past. You can't imagine the pain that would cause an elderly, single woman to learn that a guy had courted a beautiful middle schooler who is away for the summer. The term junior college is not meant to suggest that the speaker is referring to a school catering to female students. Rather, it refers to a school catering to younger male and female students. Even though I should give credit to Coach Greg Adams for coining the phrase "soar above your opponents," I'll use it to make my point nevertheless. When you show that you are stronger than your opponent, she will hate you more than anything. And the more seasoned Axis member will work tirelessly to beat you into submission once more. Because young men typically do not have their life in order. They will be vulnerable to the financial exploitation of affluent older men who donate their money to younger girls. If they manage to persuade a younger man to settle down, he will still face challenges for years to come. Every rich older man who romances a student from a local community college will be publicly shamed until he stops. This will keep happening until he stops dating chicks. According to Trump, the happiest person on earth is a virgin. Hence, this person will be branded as a metaphile. To diminish men's feeling of self-worth, they will insult them in whatever manner they can. They are going to convince all of his supporters to turn on him and join the other side. They are trying to get control of the man's life and fortune by acting in this way. That's the pinnacle of putting oneself first. It's common knowledge that women don't like males who act inconsistently. You tell them, "I'll never find a woman that's offensive to me." There will be steam coming out of their ears, blood coming out of their eyes, and rage coming out of their mouths if it becomes out that Mary is the mother of her own children or the caretaker of the children of another man. They will become extremely angry and demanding of an explanation as to why you don't want anything to do with the X-axis and showing you. When you finally make the decision to quit, you can very much assure a woman's response to such statement is either marriage or the same feelings you have for her. It's important to keep in mind that no two people's experience is of the same event will be identical. If a man completely revokes your permission to do something, you should go ahead and do it anyhow. When it comes to interactions with men, every woman has a connection to the sisterhood. Therefore, they need to coordinate and talk to come to the best potential outcome. If women did not have the protection of the sisterhood, more men would abandon their wives and children for personal satisfaction. Whether or not a woman has a male companion is irrelevant. Most males in this society are monks or too poor to afford a woman. So he may abandon her and she might not be able to find another. Because of this, women are particularly susceptible to harm. This ensures that if something should go wrong, everyone has the option of being cared for and rescued by a male caregiver. We need women to stick together and resist men. It's because of this that no woman can afford to be with the male in her relationship. In other words, it makes no difference if the man she is married to is a Rainbow Coalition supporter or a radical womanist. You should still leave her. Everyone knows that a woman's best chance at avoiding a life of struggle and poverty is to have a guy by her side. Can a person with a bias towards men who excel in every sphere of life expect to find gainful employment? Tell me who has the best chance of succeeding. You must not abandon those who depend on your assistance more than you do, even if they are one unexpected expense away from declaring bankruptcy. They sit there worrying about their future as you enjoy a lunch at a high-end restaurant. Have you considered that they may decide to release you when they have access to your entire paycheck? Do you really think they will just let you go? If you insist on running the plantation, I'll have to fire you. Since they do not want one of their brothers to be free, they will curse you until you change your mind about doing so. They are willing to use whatever means necessary, including having Masa and his dogs drag you back to the plantation. They